Hi, happy Thursday. I'm not sure why my face is white, but I'm sure it'll correct itself. I am having so many difficulties doing a fucking video. I can't tell you how irritated I'm getting. I'm having to, that's better. I'm having to like control myself because it just keeps switching off. It keeps powering down. I've had to plug this in, that's why it's a bit tilted. I've had to delete all my apps off my iPad and delete whatever I can because there was no storage space, and it's been a bit frustrating. I've been trying to do this video for a long time. Ugh! And I just want to get the shit out of my head, and I feel like there's something for me. I've always felt like there's something in vocalising the internal, externalising the internal. It does something, it creates something, and that's been another sort of path of like synchronised interest that I've had this week, has been vocal creation and vibrational creation. So anyway, I'm just going to sort of talk myself through my process over the last few days. And just before I do, I just wanted to, I've had this little internal battle because I had a few new subscribers because somebody shared my video. Thank you very much. But it made me feel, you know, like this invisible layer of expectation or judgment. And, you know, I felt like I needed to start talking about things in a more serious manner as if I know about anything. And then I've had to have a word with myself, and I'm like, no, that's not you, that's not what you're about, and I don't ever proclaim to be. So just, you know, another little disclaimer, which I hope I'm going to have to stop doing soon, but I don't know anything. I'm just rambling. I'm just, you know, documenting my crazy little journey of self-discovery. So anyway, now that's over and done with, and my fucking face is white again. I watched one of my favourite YouTubers, Suvi Bird. I watched her video the other day on blood groups, and I resonated with much of it, but what I took away from it while I was listening to it was she was drawing, she wasn't drawing, sorry, I was drawing, she was holding up cards of frequencies of blood groups. So for example, A's being a triangle, O's being a circle, and B's being more of the figure eight, you know, the symbol of infinity, toroidal fields, you know. And it was all sort of resonating with me. And by the way, this is going to be fragmented because I've been trying to do this for ages. I'll just have a sip of drink and take a breather for a sec. I felt my frantic nature then, like, get it all out. And I know I've got shit and paint and all sorts down my top, and I'm still wearing a hat, which is going to get difficult soon because it's starting to get warmer outside, so fingers crossed my hair grows a little bit soon. And people at school, I'm sure they're like, why is she just always wearing a hat now? Like, is she ill? And I can't hide under a hat forever, can I? Anyway. Deep breath. I'm fucking white again now. Anyway. So, as I'm listening to Suvi, I'm drawing the shapes of the O being the circle, the A being the triangle, and the toroidal field being the infinity. And I'm superimposing the shapes on top of each other, and I'm saying to myself, this looks wrong. How would you balance this blend of frequencies? And in my picture, an upside down triangle with a line through it balanced it all off, but also sort of created a reflection, which made me think about all sorts of other shit, but I haven't got time to go into it now, or storage space. But anyway, so then I was thinking, and again I've had to go, is this an egoic thought path? And whether it is or not, I've got to say it because it's what I've been thinking. And so hopefully it doesn't offend anyone, and I'm not trying to be anything back up and all that shit. It's just, so I was thinking then that this upside down symbol of frequency with a line through it, is that the rhesus negatives? Because I'm interested in this shit, and I'm always trying to piece my own shit together. And, you know, again, potentially egoically, but I've always felt like I was an equaliser and a balancer. And then obviously I was thinking, rhesus negatives, they seem to be of their own frequency, but they're placed within all the blood frequencies, all the different blood groups. You get your A negatives, your B negatives, your AB negatives, and your O negatives. So I was thinking, you know, is that what we were sort of here to do, to balance the blend of the frequencies and to equalise things in a way? And it kind of made sense to me. Anyway, so once I'd listened to that video, and I was doodling around, and I've got my little pictures and my upside down triangle with a line through. And bear in mind, I don't know anything about symbology, and I'm not one to be pulled into fear porn with anything like a symbol, a shape, or a number either. I'm aware of connotations through, you know, Freemasonry or Illuminati and all this shit. But I'm also not giving that the power. It doesn't sit with me, it doesn't resonate with me. Like, I resonate with an I. And so, you know, if that makes me Illuminati, you know, then that's someone else's projection and their own problem, because I don't associate that with that. Having said that, so like I say, I don't know the connotation of this, but the very next video I watched after Suvi's was a lady holding up a card, honestly, to the thing, and it had the upside down triangle with a line through it, symbol on, straight away, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, and it said earth next to it, and I'm presuming that this was the earth, the alchemical symbol of the earth or something. And when this upside down triangle with a line is added, superimposed on top of the other shapes of the frequencies, it looks like it creates an earth, and the line through it. And then I was thinking about dualism and all sorts of different fucking things on top of that. But God, this is annoying because I've been speaking so long I don't know what I've said. But what I wrote, and again, could be bollocks, was that the frequency that you emit as an individual essence can be based upon blood frequency. But with variations, infinite number of variations, which are defined by human choices. That's, you know, the good or the bad choice. And I felt like, and I wrote a bit down here, you know, about how in my sort of awareness, the more dynamic or fear-based or aggressive dominant sort of vibrations are more lines or triangles or squares, you know, whatever. Don't square my circle, that type of thing. They block the flow, but for the flow to evolve and continue and expand ever more, we should be aiming to be emitting more feminine, toroidal, circular types of frequencies from within. And, you know, I wrote down here that we can mentally heal and adjust our frequency outputs and vibrations by understanding reality in a different way. And that encompasses everything that that I'm interested in, you know, in terms of healing or energy within and vibrations and fuck knows, you know, everything else that I'm trying to figure out, the nature of reality and my place in it all. So I just found that, you know, super interesting again, you know, just the, like, the everything. I've got too many scribbles here to even start. But anyway, I was sort of seeing how our individual geometric frequency is contained within a net or grid or maze of it all and all possibilities. So then it was making me thinking about, you know, multiverses and us being in our own universe within an infinite array of multiple simultaneous universes and that sort of thing. But, you know, the idea that to heal within is to change the frequency that we emit so we can create a more fluid collective consciousness and grid within which we sit. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but I'm just trying to get all my crap out. And then I watched something about the 4 root races and the 4 realms, and I was thinking again about the 4 blood types being associated with these. And, you know, the idea of Hyperboreans, Lemurians, Atlanteans, and then Aryans, and, you know, as the races sort of hybridise, and, you know, the devolution of human in a way, and that how things have become less and less compassion based from how they used to be, or how, you know, how they were originally, that we've come from the ethereal down to the material, and with that has come lack of empathy and no compassion, and that's how we've got down the devolution of the human species, really. And then I was watching other things about human origins, in terms of, again, I'm dipping my toe in and out of all these different things to try and find my relevance within it. But I listened to something this morning, and I'm going to put all links down to things that I've listened to down in the box so you can watch it, because I'm just rehashing my own shit that has resonated with me, and I think everybody has their own individual puzzle pieces, and this is part of it. But this morning I was watching something about Vedic cosmology, Vedic, however you pronounce it, and this all sort of ties into it, you know, the multiverses and the vibrations and the idea of avatars and deities and things like this, which all resonate within me and all feel true. And then I was thinking, I was listening to Matt at Quantum of Conscious read his book, and his book's called A Reality If You Can See, and he talks about the breakdown of reality, and his interests or his knowledge is not the same as mine at all, but the gist of it all is, and again, it's all about moral choices within your game of life, within the avatar. Which is great, you know, understanding that life has meaning and that there's consequence and purpose to things, as opposed to, you know, just going around with your own BS, which made me laugh again, because I listened to this other guy, and he said, he was talking about belief system, and he said, BS, belief system, bullshit, and I'm like, yeah, I get that as well, and so I've been thinking about reality, glitches in reality that Matt speaks about, staged events or fake news and fake shootings, or Mandela effect, reality overlays, souls being alive, NPCs, simulation theories, all this type of thing. And I wrote down here, and funnily enough, I heard something similar this morning as well about the grand delusion. And, you know, I was thinking about the grand illusion, understanding the illusionary nature of everything. But anyway, the sort of thing that's been sinking in is awakening to the fact that humans have devolved as compassion deteriorates. You know, as we get desensitized, so do our senses and our powers and our knowing or knowledge or whatever. But anyway, so I was thinking, you know, the alive souls or the awake people or the aware people or the fucking way shows or whatever you want to fucking call them, the people who are having their awakening first in line, because I think everybody's got theirs to come because of the nature of the internet, and, you know, I think that's becoming quite clear. But everything sort of seems to connect to a spiritual awakening for me, and it always has, and be that the holographic nature of the universe, simulation theory, Mandela effect, deja vu, you know, reality breakdowns like Matt talks about. These are all entries into, and Tartaria, mud floods and all this, flat earth, NASA, anything that you look at which questions what we're told, you know, questioning the anomalies, that is what starts the spiritual awakening, which ends up being an internal self discovery journey, recovery, whatever, you know. So I'm thinking to myself as I'm consuming all this, you know, where do I stand in terms of the sinister nature of the universe. And like I said earlier, it's not that I don't think these things exist, because I think in the multiverse everything exists. Everything that you can conjure up exists somewhere else. So, you know, it's like finding a common consensus where there's infinite amount of possibilities is difficult. But because of the internet and the revealing and the swapping of all information, we're in a different period of time, a different age in time, where we're understanding how to control future outcomes and how consciousness plays its part in reality, I think. But anyway, I was thinking to myself about... Let's have a look. Yeah, cause I watched a lot this morning and yesterday, and I'm gonna put links down to it all. But I was thinking about orchestrated reality, the possibility of orchestrated reality or scripted reality, and if that's sinister or natural, because some people seem to focus on the sinister nature of it, finding codes within codes, and then attributing these codes to dark pockets of society or elites or bad, you know, the bad people. And I was thinking about, you know, the cover-up of history that's coming to the surface now, and how the general consensus on scientific theories are being questioned constantly. You know, it's like this thing that I watched this morning, it completely contradicts the Darwinian theory of evolution, which I've always secretly questioned, and not even secretly, I've just always felt it was bullshit, that we as a modern human evolved from ape. And there's like archaeological evidence and geological evidence to suggest that we were coexisting with apes as a modern, I've forgotten what he called it, anatomically modern man, like today, at the same time as primates and at the same time as cavemen, Neanderthal, all these different types of humanoid that we are aware of at the moment, which suggests, you know, that we didn't come from ape, and that history is potentially, you know, completely not what we've been told or sold. And I feel like this is the route into the awakening, and it doesn't matter if you look at Vedic cosmology or archaeology or Graham Hancock's secret civilizations, anything like that, or if you're looking at more of a simulation theory or quantum mechanics, code in the universe, whatever. It's like you get to this place where it all sort of coincides. And so I just find it all super interesting. But, you know, it's like prior to the internet, you know, I was writing down just sort of, you know, like how we received our information and how that would place you within like you can't fucking see my drawings, never mind. How it would place you within a spectrum on the grid because of, you know, a million variables, but culture, people, teachers, media, newspaper, TV, nightly news, which is, you know, it's just propaganda like it always has been. And then your personal senses, but your books and your writings were potentially more, you know, attempts at interpreting universal internal truths, you know, and that's probably why, you know, people say there's lots of truth in films and shit like that. Hollywood are telling you what's going on, and what's going on is that we're exploring the imagination of man, and we're remembering and uncovering, you know, what life is about, I think, collectively to different levels and through different degrees. But and then obviously how you received information prior to the internet was your personal programming, your parents, your school, the books you read within your school, the information you were available to you within your pocket of the world, which comes under the cultural spectrum then, and then the regional spectrum. And, you know, it's like news that has been broadcast since broadcasting began in terms of media is all sort of bullshit, isn't it? You know, in a way, it's not like fake news is new. It's one individual perspective of one fractal of the multiverse. And obviously history has changed and written, and you know, it's things are documented by the singular perspective quite often, aren't they? Because we're within this sort of pocket of the universe, which our experience and everything has put us in, our genders, our place of birth, our star signs, you know, everything. So prior to the internet, we were only, you know, we were only privy to, we could only obtain a small amount of information within our universe, our fractal reality within the whole. But now, because of the internet, so as you know, I was writing, of course all history is faked, because it's boxed within separate realities and realms, and it's not history, it's news. Again, I don't know if I'm talking shit, I'm just going through my things, but now, you know, we can collect others' information and compare because of the internet, so we have access to it all, so we can find our own pattern within the infinite array of patterns, and we can create our own universe, you know, essentially with internal conscious creating, which sounds like a load of words, but anyway, fucking hell. But I was just questioning, you know, where I stand on the sinister nature of the orchestrated reality. And so I veer more towards the organic nature of things in terms of, you know, the idea of the 4 root races and how we devolved in compassion, and our greed and lust and, you know, our moral poor choices have brought us more down to the material throughout history, really. It's been more of a natural process in that respect. And then, you know, resonating with the Vedic cosmology in terms of everything being cyclical and part of a cycle, and when humans get so, you know, low, basically, a change is about to happen. So, what else? Oh, I'll put a link down to this guy as well. I've mentioned him before, stoned rapper, PhD, and he makes me laugh. He swears so much, and he's, you know, he's super hyped up sometimes. But his video emphasising the fact that, you know, life is a game, and the whole checkerboard thing, and how our physical imagination and collective consciousness is creating what is already there, and, you know, hinting at what we are in terms of a construct. And that was a very good, interesting video which I enjoyed, so I'm going to put that down. Quite lengthy as well, but what I wrote down here, which really seemed to resonate, was that God's energy is neutral. It's the black and the white, and you know, I think, again, this is such cliche, typical shit, but the stuff that was coming to me when I was first awakening, the things I was going through and the realizations and stuff, it was all about the dark and the light and finding your place in it, because it is all. So he has very interesting ways of relaying his information from source, which I resonate with. Yeah, so I'm going to put a link down to his video. But, you know, just the fact that everything is games, riddles upon riddles, and that's what our human nature desires, and that's what life is. And I think you can look at life in a completely different way once you've got through these sort of blockages of your own self-doing, and you find that you have to create your own reality from your findings, like, what am I going to believe in? And but anyway, blah blah blah. I've been going on for 24 minutes, so I'm gonna try my best to quickly get the rest out. So what I enjoyed on this video that I watched this morning was the idea of knowledge filtration being the stagnate it in our human conscious evolution. And for me, that's just dogma and scientism. And there's so many anomalies in terms, you know, that contradict the current thesis of everything, whether that's Darwin's theory of evolution or, you know, Newtonian, you know, all the different sort of theories which science or physics or whatever is resting on at the moment. There seem to be too many anomalies contradicting them now that we've got to look deeper and different ways about things. I think that's what, you know, all the flat earth stuff's about as well. And it seems to be just waking up to dogma or anomalies of things that we're told that are different from what we're told. And it's almost like you're finding your own thing and going, I'm not going to follow the dominant consensus. I'm going to wake up to the subjective truth of my own and create my own reality from that. And this guy said, anyway, I wrote this down, he was talking about how he would never judge another for their ideas of anything, and he would never think he knows all either, because he understands the importance of the privilege of the individual to come up with their own alternative theories to Darwin's, you know, theory of evolution, human origin. Like, this is our free will choice as spiritual beings to create our own truth and reality from that. So whether we agree on everything or we don't, you know, it's all part of this spiritual awakening for me. And it's super interesting. I'm going to have to go because I've been talking for too long. But yeah, I'm just sort of having a little think to myself, and I'm carving out my own path, and I'm reaffirming to myself that I don't need to resonate 100% with anybody else, because that's not the point. The point is to find your own path, find your own frequency, find your own theories of life, instead of just being fucking handed what we're given, believing what we're given, or taking someone else's. And you know, the thing is, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Stone Draper, he put this video up earlier about plagiarising his work, and he was super pissed off about it. And I can understand that, but as I'm listening, I'm saying to myself, but everything that ever was has always been there in terms of ideas and the collective consciousness of the one. So it's not someone's information, it's all our information that we are free to tap into and take what we want from it. So in my eyes, there's no such thing as plagiarising. I think if you take someone's work and pass it off as your own, yeah. But if you're connecting to the same pockets of consciousness, and you're resonating with some people on the same types of things, that isn't plagiarising. That's you know, that's making use of source. That's grabbing what's there. You know, it's setting off internal sparks within your own being. And I think the responsibility is to be authentic with it in your own way, because the information is the same. It's like it doesn't, yeah, you know, it's all the fucking hero's journey, the self-awakening, how we're going to change because of knowledge that we attain. So it doesn't matter, you know, if I wasn't going through some spiritual awakening, but I was an archaeologist, you know, digging up this stuff and going, well, this doesn't add up with modern thesis, I might not be as propelled into a new paradigm as I am now, because everything's coming at once because of the internet and breakdowns in reality and fucking anomalies everywhere, and nothing fucking adds up, does it? And everyone's trying to find their own thing. But anywho, that is going to be a whole load of garbage, and I'm going to name it a whole load of garbage, and then there's no further expectations upon me. I wish I had time to talk more about what I mean, because I'm always wary that I never make sense, but yeah, I think the idea is to find your own truth and your own frequency, and to be true to yourself means to know thyself and to know thy frequency and thy blueprint and thy essence and thy personality and what matters to you, and don't be homogenised by anyone, and don't doubt yourself, and don't just follow someone else's laws of living. Find your own laws of living and follow your own. Anyway, weird playing up there. I'm going now. 30 minutes of shit. Yes, that's what I'll call it. Bye.